Good morning, happy Friday, and what a beautiful Friday morning it is. We're coming to the end of January. Imbolc, the Celtic festival of Imbolc is approaching. As I probably repeated at exactly the same time last year and the year before, it is one of my favourite festivals to celebrate because it is the return of the light. It's one of those times of year where even though it's cold, like you can see my breath, but the birds are starting to sing, the evenings are getting longer, and you can see the signs of life returning. And it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's like the energy is rising on a daily basis. And that's not just the seasonal energy, that is also the Ascension energy. A little bit I want to talk about this morning is we came through the December gateway and kind of staggered into January, like in many ways feeling quite shell-shocked and in need of recovering, and that's what we've been doing. And instead of kind of getting that necessary downtime, we've experienced a colossal increase in the volume of light that we're all receiving. And it's been spoken about on many occasions, and I'll just cover it again. If you take this light into your system, if you're receiving light, if you're pushing, if anything that you're doing to kind of clear the decks, your karmic fields, your subtle body such as spiritual, mental, emotional fields, all of that, or working on your chakras, at some point you're going to have to drop density. Now, there's a lot of density out in the fields at the moment, out in the general field, in the collective field, and I'm over the moon to notice or to see or be aware of the presence of the incredible volume of ascended assistance that is beginning to come in again. Now, a lot of us might have felt a little bit abandoned last year. You know, we went through a year of releasing everything that we needed to. Now, in many cases, when we have to release something that's really deep, it's really deep rooted, it's in there, it's stuck, you know, like it don't want to come out, and doesn't matter what we've tried, eventually you get it. And just for a brief period of time, in order to release something from your bodies and fields, sometimes you have to vibrate at that level just temporarily in order to let go of it. It's the conscious awareness of the release. So there was so much of that yo-yoing last year, where we'd be up one minute, we'd be absolutely rock bottom the next, and that carried on and on didn't it? And when that occurs, a lot of the time, as you've heard me describe before, our guides, our ascended masters, our beloved and dedicated teams will stand back and they will simply observe while we experience. Now, that's when they're doing that, when you are experiencing that, it's a little bit like adult, you know, like on a spiritual level, you're beginning to do the adulting thing, when your guides and your team no longer, and your angels and your dragons and your unicorns and everybody else, no longer have to attend to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like you would a child or a toddler, something or someone that can't look after itself fully. Then once they've started to stand back and let you, or giving you the opportunity, so to speak, to have that experience, despite the fact that it might be uncomfortable, then that is a very good sign that you are on the right pathway, you are doing the right things. Or even though paradoxically in your head it's telling you the complete opposite, you'll be like having all these red lights flashing, like I've been abandoned, I've been a bad light worker, I've done something wrong, and all of the other kind of, a lot of the kind of the abandonment issues that many of us have, like ingrained deep within our fields, that immediately come to the surface, and rightly so, because in the real world we might have already been experiencing that. We might be experiencing the kind of the loss of friends and family and partnerships that we've been used to over the years, because that's another side effect of raising the vibration. When we raise the vibration, when we take the steps forwards, there's this kind of demolition of the previous realities as it forms to align with the new one, to the setting of your soul purpose. And that's the focus of what I wish to talk about this morning. Soul purpose. What are you here for? Okay, what have you incarnated for on this wonderful planet at this particularly amazing time? What is the purpose of you being here? Okay, because there's many different levels of attunement to this real actualization or realization, and one of the primary causes of us getting stuck at the moment, when we go through this incredible journey of the spiritual pathway, the first initial part of it feels like a rocket ride. It's like a rocket to the stars. It's like absolutely amazing. Everything is so visceral, tangible, real, overwhelming in many ways, and it creates that buzz, that high, that and from that point onwards, we're constantly, as human beings, we're constantly searching for that. We almost call it the source buzz, the thing that lit us up, which ignited that heart spark and allowed us to flow into a point of service. And from that point onwards, you go up on this trajectory, you feed everything, you feed the information, and you go into that intensive seeking phase where everything is just food, soul food, and the knowledge and the reminders and the triggers and everything. And that field increases and grows exponentially, particularly very rapidly at the moment. But then ultimately, like all things do, they tend to plateau. And it's the same in the fitness world. If you're training for an event, like a running event, or for me, if I like going for a belt, like a higher belt in my kickboxing, there would be lots of intensive training, and then there comes to a point where your body gets used to that type of training, and so therefore you then have to step the training up into another zone in order to start getting results. But a lot of the time, and in the past, I've kind of continued doing what I've been doing previously, expecting the same results and not getting them. Now, this is very much the same with the spiritual pathway at the moment. We're instead of having long periods of plateauing, they're coming thick and fast. So you might all of a sudden you make an absolute ton of progress and then come to a grinding halt. And this is happening to all of us, the most experienced and long-serving consciously of us all, and also people that are very much new to the pathway, who are suddenly on there. It's like, right, okay, well, what am I going to do now? I'm awake. There's this absolute cascade of information feeding everything all of the time, but no purpose, no direction. And I had this verified for me during a session with a lovely lady yesterday, and also just happened to flick open one of my favourite books, Joshua David Stone's Cosmic Ascension, and there it was, soul purpose. Okay, now you, me, everybody else out there on the spiritual pathway are here on this planet at this moment in time to serve. Okay, now there might be many different variations of this, and there might be different attitudes to this, but as far as I can see and feel, where we are halfway through this process of moving from 3D to 5D, there is no more greater alignment spiritually than to be in service. And by being in service, I mean actually fulfilling your role on this planet as a walking master, as a master who is remembering who you truly are, who I truly am, who everybody else. And although it sounds absolutely wonderful acknowledging our own magnificence, there's a set of protocols that we all have to go through while we get there. And so 2022, as we're finishing the first month of it already, I mean, where did January go? It's just evaporated in this fast moving energy. 2022 is about calling us into soul service, what we're here to do. And for all of you who may be feeling stuck or a little bit kind of rudderless or directionless at the moment, the thing to do, if you don't know what you're here for, okay, you might have been doing this for decades. You might have been on the Ascension pathway for decades, and doing all of this work and improving and moving and stepping forwards, but still it's still to this day don't actually fully realize or know why you are doing it or what you're actually here for. And this is common. It's very, very common. It's and this is because we've been completely keyed into the 3D matrix. Many of us spent most of our lives being spiritually aligned and interested, but doing our 3D jobs, doing what we do on a kind of like a practical level, and that will continue because we've got families, we've got houses, we've got all of these situations to kind of nurture and support. But ultimately what's coming up through all of this now is being called into soul service, which means if you are aligned, if you're awake, if you're on the spiritual pathway, it is time to actually just simply say to the universe, to your team, to your guides, to anybody else who's assisting you around you that you've identified as vibrating above the benchmark of polarity, and just say that I'm ready. I am ready. I'm ready. I'm here to serve. What can I do? What can I do to assist the process that is going on this planet? Now, it doesn't have, as I've said this before on quite a few occasions, your point of service doesn't have to be huge. It can be what you would regard to be the most minor of contributions, but these minor contributions, no matter how small, have a massive effect. They have this incredible effect, knock-on effect, where one person who's awake will work with another person or assist somebody else who's in a situation where they need to move forwards and they can't, and all of a sudden that person then goes on to help another 50, and it just grows and it grows and it grows. So it's all about intention. It's all about being here and actually switching that. And the way I see it, it means moving from a state of continuous survival into intent, like, living with intention. So most of us are kind of programmed to just get through the day, to survive the melee sort of thing, to like get from one point to the other with the least amount of kind of flak damage, and we've been running like that for a long time. But what we're being asked to do, and what we are kind of expected to do, is start turning this into conscious service. And it's all about intention. It's all about turning things round and saying, whatever my contribution is, whatever I'm here to do, I'm here, I'm ready, regardless of whether I feel ready or fit to serve, and actually getting out there and doing it. And all of a sudden the universe and everybody else around you will align and begin to set those wheels in motion. I've done workshops on this before where we've consciously gone into the halls of Amenti and met up with Serapis Bay and actually signed the next level of the soul contracts. And I do believe at the moment, as we're coming into the beginning of this, or finishing the first month of this magical year, what is going to be a very magical year, that a lot of us will be signing the next level of our soul contracts, our soul mission. And that is simply, it can be a conscious thing, and it's a very, very powerful thing to do, to state your commitment to be here on this planet to serve in whatever capacity is given to you. And that's also the key to abundance and the key to the soul satisfaction. and feeling fulfilled with doing what you're doing. Now, the interesting part about it is when we're conditioned to regard the word work, you know, what does work mean? Work usually means getting up at God knows when in the morning, dragging yourself into a job that you don't want to do, coming home at the end of the day absolutely knackered, you know, and then, you know, go to sleep, feed yourself, go to sleep, rinse and repeat, and the cycle continues. That's what we've been conditioned to believe that work is. Work, in actual fact, on a fifth dimensional frequency, is doing what harmonizes with your light and your soul at the highest level. So it's what makes your heart sing. On a daily basis, yeah, you might get challenged, you might get pushed, but at the end of it, you have done what you love doing, even if that is just simply being a nice person for the day, assisting, or walking around with an open heart, consciously blessing the people around you, anchoring light into your current workplace, or setting your intention to move from where you are at the moment in time into the highest level possible. So when you make that statement, when you say to your soul or your higher self or your team around you, I'm ready for service, that's a big statement. Okay, that's at which the point where they go, okay, game on, and they come in and they make the necessary arrangements to put you into the path of service. So that's what I believe that we're here to do. That's what I believe that we are being asked of us at the moment, is everybody who is on the soul, who is on the ascension pathway, who's committing to this planet moving from 3D to 5D, is to actually align with as much intention as possible with our soul missions. Okay, and is another interesting point is, like, many of us might not feel like you're ready to do this. You might think, oh, when I've done this, or when I've achieved that, and there's always that kind of, well, I'll be ready when. You're ready now. Okay, you are ready now. At this moment in time, all you have to do is put that vibration out there, and everything will reform around you. And if you're not quite ready to do that job, then you will go through a set of processes that will make you ready to do that job. Or while you're doing it, or while you're actually going through the actions or the motions of putting your focus and attention into something that you love or you feel that you are guided to do, the information or the memories or the soul triggers and everything else that you need will activate within your fields as you are doing so. There have been many times where I have got up in front of groups of people or presented workshops where I haven't felt fit to do it. I haven't felt like I've wanted to do it, or you know, I might have been tired, something might have been going on in the world around me. But once I stepped into that role, once I got there and I did it, something clicked, something changed, everything reforms. So give it a try. That's what we're being asked to do. All around us at the moment, we're starting to see the re-emergence of huge, vast, incredibly powerful teams of light. The angels, the unicorns, the dragons, multiple, countless ascended masters who've worked with this planet previously or are extremely well qualified to deal with the ascension process because it might have happened in their universe, in their time space. The higher galactics, everybody is now coming together for service for this year. It's a good time to be on board because the support is massive. The unified golden field that we've created is absolutely beautiful to witness. And as soon as you plug yourself into it, as soon as that comes online, that support network becomes very, very powerful and very strong. So this is to be our transition. This is the halfway point. We're halfway through the shift from 2012 to 2032. Halfway. This is the year. Now in August, this, you know, the coming Lionsgate. I know it's still freezing and it's only January, but we talk about these target dates because they're massive. In August this year, Merlin will be switching off what has been a 3-year period with the storm layer. Now, I started talking about the storm layer in 2019 because it was this massive alchemical field of energy moving very, very fast around the planet, which draws in all the lower frequencies and alchemizes them into higher light. So by August, that's going to be shut down and a new project will be started. So that means we've done 3 years of intensive clearing. All of that stuff that has been released from the planet, everything that we didn't, that had been hidden in the astrals, all the karma in the land, all the stuff in our fields, all of it has been assisted by this movement, this kind of cyclonic movement of the storm layer. Now, if you go into my website, www.timwild.com, and Google and put in storm layer, you'll see that I've posted about it before. So yeah, that kind of concludes my Friday woodland chit chat. And on the 1st of February on Imbolc, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live with Mir Kafkios, and we're going to be talking about some interesting stuff. Rise of the divine masculine, again, being called into service. What is our soul mission here, and the rising of these new energies. So many more are going to be joining us over the course of the next 11 months. New lights, new talents, new spiritual directions, and of course we're going to have that incredible kind of carnival show of the 3D matrix kind of doing its thing all around us while we're working and we are forward moving and we are achieving what we are setting out to do. On the 7th, David Essery and I are going to be doing our spiritual protection workshop, which is going to be really cool. David's got some wonderful stuff lined up for that. I'm excited about that. I'd also like to give a shout out to my friend Billy from Billy's Tarot and Astrology. She's back in action again at the moment. So if you want to get yourself a really good reading, I'll be placing her link, her YouTube link, in the details. And yeah, lots of exciting stuff coming up. So wishing you all the most beautiful weekend. Really go out and absorb these energies. If you're feeling stuck at the moment, just put your focus into getting grounded, allowing these energies to come in, tuning into this beautiful field that we've got around us, and set your intention to align with your soul purpose. Sending you loads of love. Talk to you soon. Bye.